I'm Shawna Lee. This is Infinity Readings, and this will be the spirituality reading for Pisces. So you got the highest views last count, so we will be getting a bonus at the end of the series, so look for that. Okay, let's get into the cards here. We got our usual spiritual cards. We got the Gaia deck, the Isis deck. We got some dragon cards, and also Power of Surrender cards. Okay. So let's get into it. The first Gaia card that we have for you, Pisces, is 3 Youth. Now, this could mean that you have someone here that you may be focusing on who is in a youthful mode. Maybe a youth, maybe a child of yours. There's a sense of higher guidance coming through to this child is the sense that I'm getting. So if it's your son or daughter, there is a lot of energy being directed to this child instinctively, okay? So I don't know if this is being noted or focused on, or we will be amalgamating with that energy. I have a feeling that you and your child may be amalgamating some energies here, because they're giving me like the letter Y, and it's almost like linking, right? There's two outlets, right? There's two, what do you call that? 2 lines. There's 2 lines that focus to one. So it's almost like, the universe is coming through the 2 of you and they're branching off in different directions. So that could mean that you may be spiritually evolved, your son or daughter may be spiritually evolved, but you're both going to use that energy in different ways, utilize that energy in different ways. So this is an interesting reading. Now we have an animal here, so we may be very in touch with animal centers. I feel the child more so than the adult, not that that's exclusive, but the child may be utilizing their intuition in having to do with animals quite highly. Okay. Now, there's a little more energy they want to pull out here. Basically, I feel this is very detailed, so here we go. I feel like there's 3 guides along with this child as well, and they all have different modes of teaching this child how to deal with their universe in that way. Maybe a special needs child. In this case, there may be extended guidance that is going on here. So, in essence, this child not only highly protected, but highly guided in ways of instinct. And I feel like they're either focusing on this right now or learning to focus on this, or will be focusing on this in the near future. Now, this is our past card. There's a lot of energy here. So we'll go forward to our present, okay? So we're still in the Gaia deck here. A lot of energy there. I feel like a sage and a master, we're going to build this child up from a sage to a master, having to with energy fields and whatnot, okay? And again, there may be experiences that is being vocalized here from the children. And again, I want to reiterate, for those who don't listen to my readings from the past, that when we have a generation, right? So I'm a generation, my offspring will be a generation, their offspring will be another generation. Every generation gains something and loses something else. Loses things that are not worthy. So bad habits, bad, things that don't do us any for our highest good. These are lost. But along with that loss is a gaining of something else that is very important intuitively. And I'm thinking more intuition gifts, more psychic senses, more expanding of the 5 senses. Okay, so after explaining that, we get to the next card here. And this usually deals with present energy. And the Gaia card that we get is 0 choice. Okay. I feel like, wow, this reading is for your child, is what I'm getting. So we'll just shoot that off in that way and how it affects you. But there may be an overwhelming urge to understand our child. So this is coming through this reading. Okay, now this choice card is usually about the mind processes and choices that we're making and how we go about doing this in this way. Now, we are being, I feel still for this child, okay? We are being highly intuitively led. We are making decisions based on this intuition, and we are finding great gifts here, or finding great rewards here rather than gifts. We have gifts. We're seeing rewards for utilizing these modes of perception is what they're telling me. So we are now making choices in the right way, intuitively guided way, and being rewarded for this. So as to train, we're in training is the sense that I get here. And a lot of this, they're showing me that apple and how unusual it is, because usually apples are red and they're going, this is kind of a yellowy peach. And again, we're gonna become impassioned with a new direction here. So if we felt like this child didn't have any direction, it is in the process of being laid out. Like they show me a red carpet. We're going to guide this child quite highly in the direction they're meant to go. And so far, the sense is we have, as per usual, we have some resistance. But again, we're being highly rewarded for those times when we do. Along with everybody else, really. But, it's being highly accentuated here in this youth. Okay. There are situations here where things are unusual because I'm getting that orange or apple. And again, sacral chakra, the sense of being enlivened and enriched and passionate about something. It may even be our spiritual gifts may be guiding us. We may be being introduced to a field here energetically where we are meant to go. And again, is breeding a lot of good energy here. Okay. So again, it has to do with our choices. And again, if we're in a youth mode, we're not always making the right decision. It's kind of like a page. We can go off in our passions, but sometimes we don't make the right decisions. We've got to learn the right and wrong. And I feel like that's why the choice is here. It's, we're not quite solid in our wisdom, right? That comes with age. So we just have to be patient and allow this child to make their own mistakes. Okay, as we move forward, I'm laughing because this is, hitting home. Okay, as we move into the future, where do we land with this energy here? Still from Gaia, we have the love card. Wow. Yeah, and above all else is the heart that matters, right? And this is the learning lesson that the higher ups, right? The above, the universal flow is trying to encompass here. There is no resistance is what they're saying, but sometimes we become quite selfish because that is part of growth, is to become selfish and work our way through to becoming unselfish toward others. This may be one of the areas where this child is learning to share and become, because they're showing me like a kindergarten room where the kid's handing out all his toys to other people to play with. So there's a sense that this child may be learning how to give freely from the heart and not, lose the selfish, like, that's mine, you can't play, that kind of thing, if we're getting a simple term. So this is all about the universe coming upon here and allowing the son or daughter to make their own choices. And again, being highly rewarded for the right ones, having to do with coming from a heart-centered place. We feel this very deeply. And when you have a special needs child, they will work harder from the heart. I find that there is absolutely you can't get me off my heart unless there's oppression and violence and stuff like that holding them down. It's very hard to get a special needs child to not come from their heart, because that's what they're built for. That's what shines most brightly, this kind of thing. Okay, so as we move into the second row here, to expand on these cards. This is very interesting flow. Okay, the youth. We go back to, again, I don't get a past, present, or future. Future, yes, but I don't get a past. I just get now. We're dealing with the now and the choices. And like we might have a teenager or a young adult here having to go out in the world and explore new things. And the parent, right, has to kind of release from over parenting in order to allow the child to grow and whatnot. So as we get on top of the youth, we have the Isis cards. The card we get there is Abundance of Sothis. Okay, stellar blessings for the celestial goddess of abundance. So that's that abundant. So first of all, we're being abundantly guided, right? And they're showing me those 3 streaks of life. If we go back to the youth card, there's 3 streaks in the upper left corner. And that is basically, the flow, the quickness of flow, and the amount of things that are coming in. It's at times 3. Normally we would have the universe flow in a certain way, and they're going, it's times 3 here. This person is realizing very quickly that there is great ability to gain. But again, are we coming from an ego or selfish way? This is what we're trying to separate, of gaining things on a spiritual level for sharing things on a physical level, if you get my drift. This could translate to adults as well, but nonetheless. And the abundance of Sothis is that you put the seeds down, you water them, you tend to them, and then you get the harvest. And that's the physical result of doing good. There's things that happen. This is what is being felt here in this youth. So they're seeing this plus this equals this. And what it is heart plus sharing equals abundance. This is what this child is learning. So this is kind of like the preliminaries of what we all got to learn to learn. We got to learn to learn. We got to get to learn. And the abundance is that flow coming in. So it's all good. It's all good. Okay, so now the choice card as we move into the present, the here and now. Again, we're making different choices because we're seeing that it creates different results. And again, I get this very much for a child, but it could translate to the Pisces themselves. Okay. I feel like this Pisces is very much interested in focusing on the child and their highest growth. So I feel like that's why this reading is coming out in such a way. Now, as we go on top of the choice, what do we get for the Isis card? The Knot of Isis. Energetic stabilization with the buckle of the beloved. Now, the sense they're giving me is, when you have a knot in a string, it's kind of like an imperfect part of it that's not straight like the rest. Now, again, our choices, right? We're not going to always make the right choice. We're going to have foul ups, right? In our field here, especially when coming to youth and children. So I feel like what's going on here is they're showing me the knot untying. We're trying to realize how to untie, how to gain knowledge and understand what's a wise choice and what's not. And again, we're learning in the physical universe how to do that in a spiritual way. So the child is looking in and amongst and knowing instinctively what's right and wrong, but sometimes not having the willpower to there's fun factors, right? Fun factors, and that's an adult decision, because usually you have to go through all those fun factors and go, yeah, it's not worth it. I'm not going to do that again. This is this child dabbling in. So those are those little knots they're going to have along the way, is they're going to indulge in the fun factor because they kind of have to realize that, yeah, I don't want to do that again, right? Or maybe I do want to do that until I learn not to do that. I feel like that's the knot. It's a different kind of an energy I get this time from that. And the buckle of the beloved is ultimately we are tied to the highest high. We are using and utilizing the best guidance in the ways. And we are being rewarded highly for this. It's not being unnoticed from the child that we have got guidance here. Also, we're getting rewards, right, for the things that we're doing properly. That translates back to the parent, where the parent may be literally rewarding the child for their good behavior. I seen you did this, that's great and wonderful. Like vocalizing and discussing with the child. This is good because that's good behavior. And, dot, 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 dot. And I'm also getting a reinforcement of, don't do this, don't do that. But again, we got to be careful there. I know I have problems with that. Okay, so the buckle of the beloved, I feel like the choices, we're not always going to make the right choice. We do instinctively know what's right and wrong, but again, the fun factor overrides our wisdom, and that's those little knots that we're going to get that trip us up. But that's just part of the flow of being a kid and growing, right? So as we move into the future here, what's the Isis card on top of the love card? What do we get? Wings of Isis, uniting with the angelic self. Wow. And I do feel too, okay, first with this child that you have here, there's going to be a uniting with the angelic self. And again, I mentioned this before and I got a lot of weird feedback for it, but it's nonetheless true. The sense is that we will be possessed by the right side of things. We will, when you hear the word possession, it's usually because you got devil stuff in you, or you allow that stuff in, or something happens to bring that in. And here we have the opposite side coming in to unite. So there's a great sense here that we have a child, or one that is in growth here, that will be on the positive side of light. Not only will be, but will be harnessed to it, like be chained to it in a way. It's not a chain though. It's a gentle overflow of light is what happens when you get possessed by the right side. Yeah, there's a dissonance there, isn't there? Because you can get possessed by passion. You can get possessed by love and, agape type feeling. You get possessed by anything. It doesn't necessarily mean it has to be bad, right? And this is the case. This child is going to be influenced highly from this side, to the point that uniting with the angelic self just means basically, I think, our higher selves will be very much in line with the physical self to a degree, that we will be walking amongst people and doing no harm. That's what they said. Doing the ultimate good, this kind of thing. So you could, I don't want to jump guns here, but pew pew. You may have a child here that could go in the way of religious. I'm seeing like the white collar. We could have someone who wants to join a ministry, these kinds of things. Do the ultimate for, either other youth. Leading the way to show. And there would be a great following if this was encounter. I'm getting tears. Yeah, there's a great pride and self-worth that will come, not only from, a belief system that is valid, but also from their own self-worth of doing the right thing. And again, being ultimately rewarded for that. And for everybody that taps into that field, it will be different. How they get their rewards will be different. Wow, that just hit me. Ball of energy. Anybody that has children, ultimately you want them to be looked after, and ultimately you want them to be in the right form. So for somebody, I think this is good news. Okay, as we move on here, just yeah, they do it every once in a while, and of course, there's upgrading, and with upgrading, you have to release emotions. So this happens to everyone. Okay, as we move back to the energy of the youth, the abundance of Sothis, this is all that abundance that they are feeling, and not only that, touching on the physical universe, there's things coming to them because of the spiritual growth and strength they're displaying. I was asked to bring the cat cards in. So the cat card that we get is the 10 of Swords. That's interesting. Yeah, the cat cards. So this 10 of Swords is a little different. This is almost like this is my curiosity card. It's like we could enter an energy field here that is completely different. But we have to keep in mind the swords are, curiosity killed the cat. This is kind of the thing. If we go too far down that road, we could get hurt. Now, when we have a youth, right, they have to learn their lessons the hard way, because that's really, what do you call that? That's the rite of passage here as we learn. We get bumps in the road because we have to learn what again, right and wrong. We're highly instinctively driven, but again, the fun factors will overrule this, and curiosity also. Right? I don't know about this. Let's go in there. If we get our fingers burned, then we back off. This kind of thing. So there is a sense here that either in the past or in the present here, we may have some curiosity factors bring us into certain areas. But with this card, I get the sense is that we may not have to go too far down that road before we realize what to do here, like on the level. And the 10 of Swords ultimately is about betrayal. So there is a sense here that we have a great spiritual path ahead of us, having to do with love and the spiritual way. And we could ultimately betray that by going off and doing other things. Now, let's see where we come to in the present. On the knot of Isis, again, the knot is about imperfections, right? When you have a string, there's just there's no interruption, but when you have a knot, that's kind of like a tanglement that we have to get out of because of choices that we make. The cat card we get on top of that is the 2 of Swords. Okay. This can signal a pause, a still point, a truce. And that's the sense I get. I feel like our curiosity is going to kind of pull us, test us, right? The universe always goes through tests. In a spiritual manner, we'll go through a test, and the sense here is that we may just pause on that for a bit. Now, where we end up in the future is love and all of that. So ultimately, if this has to do with love and hate, we will make the right decision. We won't go outward in hate, or we won't allow others to do that to us in that way. But there's a sense of holding here. Part of it is holding from doing the right thing, and part of it is holding from advancing. So there's a sense of not knowing what to do, and the pause again is good in that way. If we don't know what to do, pausing is good, right? Rather than just jumping into something when we don't know. So I'm nervous for the future as we go into the next card. The cat card on the Wings of Isis. Okay, ultimately, the universal flow is really going to integrate with these children. And I'm saying child, but it's really going to be amongst all children. And I say children, but youth, children that are born, babies, these kinds of things. The universal flow is really going to exhibit itself into these children. And I, as an adult, I do see that on a greater plane. And I don't know if that's just my own senses or, but yeah, this reading is really reinforcing that instinct that I get about these children. no matter what the society wants to label them as. They are truly gifted in other ways. And yeah, that brings me to that telepathy tapes. And I've been meaning to sink my teeth into that. And I saw a little bit of it. And the more I hear and the more it's really in alignment with everything I believe and I've seen and I sense and I feel. So this makes sense to me. But anyway, without getting into that, I'll have to settle down here. On the wings of Isis, that means that you will integrate with the universal flow to a degree. It'll become a part of you. So when they say earth angel, this is what we're talking about. There's going to be a whole fleet of them coming out, okay? They'll be integrated with this. So if you have child, they will be part of this. And you will know, because this will not be something it's going to slap you sideways. They're going to go, oh no, from the beginning, my child just said something and it was like, they're 6 years old. How do they have this knowledge? It was so simple. And it was like I learned from, like this kind of thing. We're going to learn more from our children than we realize. So, Wings of Isis, what do we get as a cat card? We get 2, which is the High Priestess. Yeah. Wow. So, give me a moment to absorb. There's a lot of dark, cloudy cards in these cat. Like the cat cards, the Ten of Swords, he's in like a clear day going in to check on the darkness. It's what I get. He or she. And this makes sense to me because it's like, yeah, we just, again, the contrast is there to make you see that you're making the right decisions or wrong ones, right? Make you feel that contrast. So there's a peaking of this in our past. Now, as we go forward here, I feel a neutrality of holding off. I feel like maybe this child got into something that they themselves don't know. And they may have even gotten guidance from a Pisces parent to not go there. And so they're holding off. They're trying to resist. Now, as we move into the future, love and guidance will be there for them. And in fact, angelic flow will be quite high in these children. And on top of that, I get the High Priestess. Now, the High Priestess, that's kind of the magician on the feminine side. They see a lot of things, feel a lot of instinct. It's all there. But that's the holding of it. Again, I get that holding pattern. I feel like this child has something they want to dig their teeth into, but they know it's wrong. And it could possibly throw them off track of their life path. But I feel like the ultimate destiny for this child is to live a good life. That's why I'm seeing the caller, right? Is to treat others as you want to be treated, this kind of thing. And also, the highest path of love and whatnot. And it could be just a resistance to fight, wanting to do harm unto another, this kind of thing. I feel like we have the instinct to know better. But again, are we going to do anything in the future that compromises that purity? This is the sense. Now, on all levels, instinctively, we're feeling it. We know better. We'll do, are we going to do this kind of thing? And it's held here. Now, we got 2 clarification cards. So Pisces, you may have a Pisces child as well. And if you have a Pisces child, that will be heightened times 3 again, times 6 instead of times 3, because the Pisces destiny is to unscramble the universal flow. So, and again, we're getting it scrambled outside of us because society, we've all learned the wrong way. Now, they asked me to get 2 clarification cards. I got the dragon cards, and I always get those cards when we need some extra strength and passion in some kind of way. And then, the power of surrender cards, which is going to clarify any problems that might be here. So as a parent, if you're the parent or if it's the child that's the Pisces, these 2 will be highly significant. So we'll go with the dragon card first. And this speaks to the energy that either needs to be prominent or is prominent already. And the dragon card that we get here is the pink dragon, Kuan Yin's pink dragon. And it says, brings firm love that resets your karmic balance. See all your cards dissolve by transcendent love. Enjoy your freedom. Look for the divine around you. And I do feel that is their future. And that is part of their destined path, is to be in this loving way. So we may have a child that is overly compassionate, overly loving, and overly caring. And this is how this love is very, what's the word? It's like they're showing me in a graphic, like energy, how it moves and moves into people. It's very contagious. That's the word I'm looking for. It's very contagious, this love that the child is giving outward, and it is pure. It is from a pure center. Again, it's to keep it. So I feel like this is the dragon card. So this is your child's strength, is their core of love going outward. Yeah, that's a good one. It's a good one. And I think really all the kids are going to have it. It's just how they display it is going to be a little different. But yeah, so that's awesome. Kuan Yin, yeah. She is the ultimate in love and compassion, right? It's like Jesus in feminine form, you know? Yeah. And look at here. I read that wrong. They're going, look at that word. It's not cards. Your cards dissolve. It's cords. See all your cords dissolved by transcendent love. Yeah. So when we have a cord attached to us energetically, it could be from a good person or someone who hates us. They attach to our energy. And this person will just not, it's almost like it will be impossible to hate them because they emit so much loving energy outward. That's a good trait to have. Wowzer. Okay. So again, maybe this reading is for a parent that needs to understand their child better, and they may have a discrepancy there in the thoughts of how their child is advancing. This hopefully will set you straight. And if it is for the child, which ultimately it is for the child, it is to understand where their path sits. And it is a life of love and compassion and sharing outward in a vulnerable, open-hearted kind of way. The word vulnerable, yeah, there's very much resistance to that. So as we get on to the surrender card, what do we get here? Surrender, worry. Oh, yes. Make a commitment. Okay, sorry. I'm an empath. There's a lot of energy dropped here. So this is a parent that worries about their child making the right decisions in the world. We all, as a parent, that's just ingrained. But the sense here is surrender that worry, because it's just the child is highly instinctual. They're learning to do the right thing in the right moments, and They understand. They understand right from wrong. Yeah. Ultimately, they are ingrained in the right flow here. Okay. Sorry, this relates to me as well. So, make a commitment not to lead an anxiety-driven life. When worries arise, breathe them out of your body. Focus on the power of your heart and have faith that spirit is guiding. Okay, sorry. This one's hitting me. Like the love and the compassion has hit me. So, good thing, Pisces, you got the bonus, because this one is focused elsewhere. Yeah, on child or children. It could be even niece, nephews if you don't have children. There's a sense of worrying about this child being as compassionate as they are. They are highly protected. The sense here is to have faith that Spirit is guiding you always. And I feel for the child as well. I mean, we may be worried about a certain child here that, you know, it's the translation factor. They're saying this, but do they truly understand? And what they're going and saying here is that this child understands, basically, surrender, worry. Because ultimately they do have a path here and it's highly ingrained already. Even if this is a youth and someone who is learning to become a master, because they are saying there will be master abilities here, and we are seeing signs of this in our physical universe. We are being blown away, if you will. And I will have some stories in the future to share as well. So that is your reading, okay? Pisces, again, good we got the bonus because this is spiritual, absolutely. We may have a child here who has a highly protected, guided path of spiritual love and light. I say love and light, that's being overutilized, but of love and compassion as they go forward in their life, and so much to the degree they could even become a priest or in the ministry in some kind of way of goodness and purity. This could come about, could be part of their path. There's a sense that at this time they may be curious about certain things and maybe opening doors that could cause them problems. But again, they are highly guided, with or without the parent around, to you know, they are highly guided and they are highly reprimanded and highly, you know, reprimanded for the wrong that they do. They feel it very heavily. So, again, they are rewarded highly as well when they do the right thing. So they're noticing that difference and they have to have that. So there's someone with high empathy, it's all there. And these are things that will be along their path. Sorry for crying. It's just something that's something I do. Sorry for the sniffles. It's annoying. I'm trying to even, you know, you get into a point where it's either weather, you know, dust storms and people planting crop fields and stirring up dust that causes, you know, sniffles or whatever. So Pisces, that is your reading for someone very close to you. That matters quite highly. And yeah, hopefully that helped you in some kind of way. I feel that we may be worrying about them excessively, and the sense here is we can drop the weight of that because this child is highly guided, and again, we're seeing evidence of this, and we need reinforcement. So I'm your reinforcement to tell you we need to ease up on the worry. This child is highly protected, and they are also highly guided, and they're following that guidance. And again, it's not that there's not going to be any bumps in the road, but those bumps are felt, so they're going to realign. They realign quite quickly. They know quite strongly. It's just, again, part of the learning path. So that's your reading, Pisces. Hopefully that makes sense to you. In the meantime, take care, have fun, and be kind, and we will talk to you soon.